Hello everybody. 6 months back when Accenture announced quarterly results, they mentioned that in 2024, we will be growing by 2 to 5% our overall revenue base. And 3 months back, they adjusted that number and said 2 to 5% does not look possible. We will grow from 1 to 3%. And yesterday on June 20th, they released the results, and this time they lowered the results guidance once again, and they said we can't grow by 3%. Our guidance is stopping at 2.5% only. 1.5 to 2.5% is potential growth possibility for us. In spite of lowering the revenue guidance continuously over the last 3 results, the stock prices of Accenture have increased by 7% as soon as the results are announced. Now, why did this happen? In this video, we'll go deep into what are the positives and also negatives coming from the Accenture quarterly results. Do stick till the very end and do like the video so that it reaches out to more people. So let's start with the first point, which is the overall revenues in this quarter have actually increased by 1% if we just take revenues in the local currencies, which is the right way to look at it, because individual clients within different countries will pay to Accenture in that local currency, and if that local currency number is growing, it means operationally they are doing good. The second point, however, is one of the key industries, which is banking and financial services. The revenues from banking and financial services industry has gone down by 5%. Now, why am I emphasizing on banking and financial services? Because if you look at all the other Indian IT service providers such as Wipro, HCL, TCS, Infosys, the biggest industry for them is banking and financial services. So if banking and financial services sector itself is not doing very well, then you can imagine next month when all the Indian IT service providers will announce their results, there is a very big chance that their results won't meet the market expectations. However, again, there is a catch here. While Infosys has 30% of their revenues coming from banking and financial services, and Wipro has 33%, TCS once again has 28 to 30%, HCL has lesser dependence on banking and financial services, and hence they might be having better results compared to all the other IT service providers. That's the first takeaway over here. And the second takeaway is with respect to the other industries which have actually grown so that their overall revenues have increased by 1%. The revenue increase is coming from healthcare and public services. Healthcare and public services, the reason given by the Accenture CEO and other executives is that the digital transformation wave has not completed, or it has not reached its peak in the public sector space, and hence they are expecting these numbers to continue growing over the next few years. So public sector space is still there for the taking, but unfortunately none of the Indian IT service providers have public sector as their major contributor of revenue source, except one player. Again, it is HCL. HCL has close to 10% of their revenues coming from public sector. So either ways you look at it, next month when the quarterly results for all the IT service providers will come in, looks like HCL will have an upper hand over the others. Now coming back into the Accenture results, while the overall revenues barely increased by 1% and the guidance has declined, then why did the stock price has increased by 7%? One of the fundamental reasons is they have very clearly outlined how much they are going to make through the Gen AI projects, and they mentioned they are going to make up to $900 million. This is only the second IT services company after TCS to announce their pipeline revenues through Gen AI as a segment. It is a niche segment for sure, but none of the other companies have even started talking about the revenues that are coming from Gen AI space, and hence market is giving that benefit of doubt to Accenture. And if you are also interested in growing in the technology space, then you cannot ignore Gen AI, and you have to pick up and not be outsider to this buzzword, but rather be an insider. If you are looking to upskill, do check out Odin School's 6-month instructor-led bootcamp. In this bootcamp, you will be learning from the basics of data science to the most advanced AI topics. And these are not just theoretical learnings. You will actually do 10 plus industry projects. If you go through the success stories, you will realize that a lot of folks used this bootcamp experience to launch their career in data science or even transition into data science and AI. Once you complete this 6-month program, you will be eligible to apply to their 500 plus hiring partners. The placement support will continue for 2 years after the bootcamp ends, and you'll be having a lot of mock interviews and behavioral sessions. The course fee can also be paid in two ways. Option 1, you can pay the full course fee of rupees 75,000, which comes along with EMI options, and you are also eligible for early bird offers up to 10,000. Option 2 is you pay 40,000 in advance and attend the full course and pay 10% of your CTC after getting job through Odin School. Go ahead and apply for the program using the link in the description box. The third takeaway from the Accenture's quarterly results are with respect to the headcount. In the last quarterly results announcement, Accenture headcount has actually dropped from 7,43,000 employees to 7,42,000 employees. It's 1,000 decline. But this time, their employee headcount has increased from 7,42,000 employees to 7,50,200 employees, almost a 1% increase. This gives a lot of confidence that, hey, even though the overall macroeconomy is uncertain and also there are a lot of negative news circulating around the hiring scenario, the numbers, the increase is giving definitely a bit of the hope. And forget about the companies, for the individuals like you and me, this is definitely a good news. The fourth and another interesting takeaway for Accenture was that the total number of people that they have trained on AI. They very clearly mentioned that now they have close to 55,000 employees who are trained on AI, and they are looking to end 2026 with 80,000 people trained on AI and data science. But if you look at the other Indian IT service providers like TCS, you would see that they are highlighting huge numbers. If you know how many people that TCS claim within their organization know about GenAI, please do let me know in the comments. I'll hold off from sharing that number and look into a few comments and then share my answer. Accenture with 7,50,000 employees is saying that only 55,000 people are trained on GenAI. On the other end, TCS with 6 lakh employees are saying a much bigger number. And now coming to the final conclusion around how the overall results might look like, it very clearly says that for majority of the Indian IT service providers, it still might be a rough quarter going ahead, except HCL, which could be on the positive end of the spectrum because of their lower dependence on BFSI and also an higher revenue share in the public services sector. Hope you got a lot of nuances from this video regarding what is happening in the IT space, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye bye.